What's popping off, YouTube family? Paulie Picks back again. Told y'all I'd be back 2 days in a row, and we getting the ball back rolling, baby. We are here today to talk about the co-main event of the UFC pay-per-view card this weekend in the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey, an hour and some change away from my house. I wish I was going, but I already just went up there for the New Jersey Devils playoff game the other day, so I'm cashed out on that. But still, nonetheless, excited. Guaranteed I'll have FOMO that night, wishing I was there. But it's okay. We got a banger of a main event, and we got a banger of a co-main event. And today on the slate here, we're going to be predicting the co-main event. So, the co-main event is Gilbert Burns versus Belal Muhammed. And it's a huge title eliminator fight in the welterweight division. Yes, the winner of this fight should fight for the title. But it doesn't matter how good you are or how many wins you have or anything like that in the UFC. All it matters is if you're one of Dana White's best buddies. So these guys are not going to get a title fight coming off of this fight most likely. But the winner of this fight should and has every right to sit out and wait for whenever they do get a title shot in the future. They deserve it. That should be what's next for them. Gilbert Burns we're in May, right? It's May. And this is Gilbert Burns' third fight of the year. He smoked Neil Magny. He smoked Jorge Masvidal. And now he's stepping in to fight Belal Muhammed, who's on quite the streak himself. Belal Muhammed just beat Sean Brady. Belal Muhammed beat Stephen Thompson. Belal Muhammed's on a roll. And, yeah, guys, it's going to be a banger. Now, the thing is, both of these fighters have a very well-rounded skill set. Belal has pretty technical, good boxing on the feet, good striking. He showcased that against Sean Brady. Also showcased the ability to control the fight from a grappling perspective numerous times in his career, especially when he fought Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Also, I don't want to not mention that Belal absolutely decimated Vicente Luque, who is somebody that he lost to earlier in his career. So that shows his progression. But Gilbert Burns is a tank. We all know what Gilbert Burns is. We all know what he brings to the table. Went through a dog fight with Khamzat Chimaev. I actually thought he won that fight. It was really close. But, yeah, nonetheless, he showed that he was a real dog in that fight. Severely outsized. Severely smaller than Khamzat Chimaev. Should have never been fighting that weight bully in the first place. And absolutely dogged it out, dropped him, put on a show, made it so that Khamzat did not want to go to the ground with him at all. Beat the brakes off Tyron Woodley. Has done some really good stuff. Hurt Kamaru Usman in their fight. And yeah, the other week when he was fighting Jorge Masvidal, I picked against him in the Jorge Masvidal fight. I picked against both of these guys several times. I picked against Belal in the Luque fight, in the Wonderboy fight, and in the Sean Brady fight. But both these guys have won so much that now they're right there. They are the guys who need to be fighting to figure out who is the number one contender. And I guess one of these guys I got to pick against again. It's a tough fight to call. It really is. Belal Muhammad's coming off Ramadan, taking this fight on, I believe, 3 weeks' notice. That's going to be tough for him. But he's a dedicated fighter. I just saw Juliana Pena talking about how he never leaves the gym. He's in there day in and day out, whether he has a fight booked or not. Gilbert Burns is obviously on a roll. Now, is it bad to be stepping back into the octagon so soon after these fights he's just had? I'd argue that it's actually a good thing. I'd argue that positive momentum in MMA is a driving force. The more comfortable you get in the cage, the more you can fight in the cage like how you fight in the gym. Because a lot of fighters, they're A1 fighters in the gym, but the bright lights get to them, the moment gets to them, or maybe they're just more timid overall in the actual octagon. and then they wound up not performing to their potential. So I think that constantly stepping in there, like look at Kevin Holland in a few years ago when he won 5 fights in 1 year. Just the activity. The more you go in there, the more comfortable you are being in there, and then you can just relax and fight. I think that'll be Gilbert Burns in this fight. I don't love Gilbert Burns' cardio. I said that in the Jorge Masvidal video. But it's only a 3-round fight. The only issue is Belal Muhammed's going to dictate the pace of this fight most likely. Belal Muhammed fights at a pretty fast pace, not otherworldly fast, but a pretty good pace. He was walking down Sean Brady at times in that fight, and Belal Muhammed is not going to fight at the pace that Jorge Masvidal fought at, where he basically let Gilbert do whatever he wanted. It's an interesting fight, like I said, because they're both so well-rounded, but I'd say in the grappling, Gilbert obviously has the advantage, especially if they hit the mat. It's a severe advantage. On the feet, I think Gilbert obviously has more potential to knock Belal out, but I'd say that Belal's boxing is a little bit more technical. I really do think that. I think Belal is a bit more technical of a striker, not nearly as explosive though. So it's going to be a battle of technique versus explosiveness. And this fight is very much a toss-up because it's like, is Gilbert tired and ran down from fighting these couple fights? Is Belal ready? Or is Gilbert more ready because he's had these fights? It's an interesting one. It's a toss-up, but we got to make a pick here. And I'm literally making this pick on the fly, guys. I haven't even really determined pre this video who exactly I'm going to go with. So, I think that I'm going to take Gilbert Burns. I picked against him a few weeks ago. I'm not picking against him again. Gilbert Burns is a savage. Gilbert Burns is one of the best fighters in the world. I happen to believe so is Belal Muhammed. But I think that he's going to get it. I think early in the fight, Gilbert will be able to push the pace. I think Gilbert will be able to dominate certain aspects of the fight early. I could see Gilbert landing a few big strikes to get Belal rattled. I could see Gilbert potentially scoring a takedown in the first round off of striking his way into distance. I think the later the fight goes, the more Belal will start to build momentum, get his feet under him, and start to take over the fight. But we're only talking about 15 minutes. So I do think that Gilbert can get the first and second round, and then Belal may get the third, but it may just be too late. So I'm going to go with Gilbert Duringo Burns by decision. That's my pick for this fight, guys. Tune in later this week for the prediction of the main event. And as always, hit the like, hit the subscribe, leave a comment. I love y'all.